Boys, girls, babes, welcome back to episode 109 of the Jenaya Talks Caps podcast. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As always, not to brag here, but this has been a really successful season for us so far here at the Jenaya Talks Caps podcast. We have gotten a ton of new audio listeners over on Apple and Spotify and all of those other platforms. The YouTube channel is growing steadily as well. And yeah, for our audio-only listeners, if you were not aware, we do have a video version of this podcast available for you now as well. We started that near the end of last season. And so, yeah, if you wanted to watch in video rather than listen in audio only, you can do that over on YouTube. The YouTube channel, of course, is under the same name, Jenaya Talks Caps. But obviously, we appreciate all of our audio-only listeners as well, and anyone and everyone who consumes this content in any of its forms. Thank you all so much. Like I said, thank you for your support. We are having a blast here so far this season, and I know that we will continue to have a blast because Washington Capitals fans as a whole are so great, so much fun, so insightful, so involved, and most importantly, we are pretty much all kind to one another, which makes for a really, really great fan base. And yeah, everyone getting together here and in other places across social media to just talk Capitals, right? To share insights about the team and its players. And so yeah, babes, like if you haven't done so already, if you are new to the show, or even if you aren't new to the show but you just hadn't gotten around to clicking on that subscribe button yet, do give it a click, subscribe on Apple or on Spotify or on YouTube or wherever you were listening or watching. And let's get you involved. Like I said, like we have a nice little community going here that has been growing and growing, and everyone is always welcome here, whether just to listen, just to watch, or to share your own insights, like I said, and chat amongst yourselves and with me as well. I always try to respond to as many comments as I can. And yeah, just follow along, subscribe here, like I said, share your comments, share your insight, and let's talk some Washington Capitals hockey, baby. And yeah, today it's a more, I'm going to be honest, it's a more upbeat show than we have had in some of these weeks. Some of these weeks to start the season here, because the Capitals are certainly, not just, I don't even want to say playing better hockey, because they actually have been playing pretty good hockey for most of the season so far. They just weren't getting the results, right? Now they're starting to see some results. They're starting to make some headway in the standings. And so it's a much better vibe around here. It really is. And yeah, on today's show here, there are a few different things that I wanted to talk about in regards to the Caps play of late. Like I said, they have certainly turned it around to some extent here, in terms of accumulating points in the standings. So we will talk about that. But there are also still things to work on for sure. And so we will talk about those things as well. And in fact, I've got somewhat of a positive sandwich for you all here today, if you will, in that I have got two main positive things that I want to talk about, and then there is one negative thing as well that still needs to be worked on and corrected. So we'll do it, like I said, positive sandwich form here, so that I think that just kind of captures the reason why I wanted to do it like that. I think that just kind of captures the vibe around the team right now. It is more positive than negative over this last week for sure, right? But like I said, there is still some negative that we have to touch on. So first, let's start off with the first positive, the first slice of bread for that sandwich, if you will. And that first positive is a very important one, as it is simply the fact, like I said, that the Washington Capitals are beginning to accumulate some standings points once again. So kind of a lot more along the lines of what we expected them to do when we came into this season. They are starting to rack up some points in the standings now over this last week or so here. So in their last 5 games now, they have lost in a shootout to the New Jersey Devils. So they get the 1 standings point there, losing via shootout. And then after that, right, they rattled off 3 straight regulation wins against the Los Angeles Kings, the Edmonton Oilers, and the Montreal Canadiens, before losing a close one to the Tampa Bay Lightning in their most recent game on Saturday night, which was also Hockey Fights Cancer Night in DC, of course. And by the way, like for those who watch the post-game reaction videos that I do on YouTube after every Capitals game, I did put a link in the description of the video for that game against the Lightning to the V Foundation, where you can donate if you so wish, to help hockey fight cancer. Obviously, it's a very important cause that touches most of us at some point throughout our lives. And I did talk a little bit, during that post-game reaction video about how cancer has affected me and my family. So if you have the means, head on over to that video after you're done with this one and click on the link in the description to go to the V Foundation's page, and you can donate there. Again, if you have the means, right? I know everyone would probably love to donate. Not everyone always has the means to, right? So if you have the means, like I said, it's of course a great cause, and can always use all of the help that it can get. But yeah, for the Caps, anytime you can win 3 straight games in regulation against 3 pretty good hockey teams, anytime that you can have any 5-game stretch where you are 3-1-1 and accumulating points in the standings almost every single night that you play, anytime that you can do that in the National Hockey League, that is always going to be a very good thing. And it has been a good thing for the Caps, as you can see that their swagger is starting to come back a little bit here. They're starting to get, they had talked a lot, Spencer Carberry had talked a lot about the process, the underlying process being very, very good for the Washington Capitals. They were, like I said, playing pretty well, even though they weren't getting the results yet. All of their underlying numbers, those underlying metrics, were very, very good, right? You could see in those underlying numbers that they were playing very good hockey. They just weren't getting rewarded for it, rather, yet. So now, right now, they're starting to see some results here, starting to see the fruits of their labors a little bit here. And so you can see with that, with standings points, right, their swagger starts to come back a little bit as far as the players are concerned. Because I think as players, you always, like, the coach can talk all he wants about the process. For players, and Dylan Strome said it, and Tom Wilson, I believe, said it as well, coaches talk about the process and they want to see that the underlying process is good, that the team is playing well. For players, they want to see points in the bank, right? Like, they want to see points in the standings. They want to see their team up high in the standings, and that is what brings that confidence about that the process is actually working, right? It's, like I said, Dylan Strome said it. I believe Tom Wilson said it as well. Coaches can talk about the process. They can show in the video room all of these things that tell the players that they're playing well. Like, here's all the video, here's all the underlying numbers, you guys are playing really well. For players, they want to see points in the standings, right, to confirm that. So you can see now, for sure, on the ice and in the locker room, that their swagger is starting to come back a little bit here, with those standings points starting to accumulate for them, getting the results, like I said, that they should get with the way that they were playing, right? And so, as they start looking more and more here like the team that won the Eastern Conference in the regular season last season, it's very exciting as a Capitals fan, right? Like, we're seeing a lot more pucks starting to hit the back of the net for this team now, which was a bit of a concern early on. They're, like I said, underlying process was good, but the pucks weren't going in, right? So if the pucks aren't going in, if you're not getting goals on the scoreboard, not just expected goals for, right? You want actual goals for. So if the pucks aren't going in, if you're not getting W's in the win column, you get a little bit concerned of how long that can go on for before you're too far out of it, right? Too far down the standings. So like I said, starting to look a lot more now like the team that won the Eastern Conference in the regular season last season. Pucks hitting the back of the net with a lot more frequency here. And yeah, just to quickly go over those last 5 games here, really quick summary, because of course we do, the more in-depth recaps during those post-game reaction videos on the YouTube channel. So you can always watch those if you want a more in-depth approach on a game-by-game basis. That's kind of how I typically like to do things here. The podcast is typically more of a holistic view of the team and of how the team is playing, more as a whole, more of a cumulative approach, whereas those post-game reaction videos are definitely exactly that, reactionary, right? And are more focusing on the game that has just been played that night or that day or whatever. But yeah, quick recap of these last 5 games for the podcast's sake. So like I said, we start right with that, just got to pull them up here. We start with that shootout loss, 3-2 via the shootout to the New Jersey Devils. So we were obviously tied 2-2 after regulation. Shots in that game were dead even, 31-31. And yeah, I'll just pull up here. That game was a little bit over a week ago now, so just trying to remember which one that was. Yes, right. We had so the Caps were actually trailing 2-0 in that game. This was the game that they put on the comeback in the third period, right? So Alex Ovechkin had a phenomenal game in this game. This was like really like the third period comeback was fueled, I guess you could say, a lot by Alex Ovechkin in his play. So a minute into the third period, you remember he had made that great play where he kind of drew everyone over to himself, faked that he was going to shoot, and then he sets up Connor McMichael for a pretty much wide open net. So that made it 2-1. New Jersey. So again, they're trying to come back from down 2-0 in the third period. So they make it 2-1 early, just a minute into the third period. And then Alex Ovechkin himself ties the game up 2-2, which obviously gets the Caps their 1 standings point. But yeah, then they go to a shootout, and shootouts have not been kind to this team, not just this season, but really the last few seasons. Anytime that you lose Nicholas Backstrom, Evgeny Kuznetsov, TJ Oshie, your shootouts are going to suffer, right? And that is certainly what we have seen with this Washington Capitals team. Dylan Strome did score in this one on the first shot of the shootout, but then Jesper Bratt scored as well. So then we had a tie, and then the Caps could not get any more goals after that. Simon Nemec, a defenseman, ends up getting the game winner. I believe it was in the 5th round of the shootout, if I'm remembering correctly. Let me just count here. 2, 3... 4th round, pardon me. So 4th round of the shootout. Yeah, defenseman Simon Nemec, who I believe I remember New Jersey fans were saying he had a similar shootout winner actually just recently. So he seems to be hot in the shootout, Simon Nemec. So he gets the winner there. But the Caps, like I said, with an important 1 point in the standings, right? And it was a very important point at that point because, the Caps really this season had not been going the way that they wanted for sure up until that point, right? They had just lost their previous game before that to the Florida Panthers, albeit before that they had a huge win in Carolina, which of course we've already talked about. But the season as a whole up to this point hadn't really been going exactly the way that the Caps wanted, right? So it was great to see them get at least a point in the shootout there against New Jersey. And then they move on to face the Los Angeles Kings, another very good team. This game was really a kind of a defensive chess match, right? Both teams playing very, very, very well defensively. The Caps did get the first goal of the game in the first period, just 3 minutes and 41 seconds in. Matt Roy, that was his first goal of the season. He was somehow all the way down at the front of the Los Angeles Kings net, in front of Darcy Kemper, all alone. I don't know what was going on here if you're the Los Angeles Kings, but yeah, a defenseman, Matt Roy, is left all alone in front, and he is able to make a nice deflection on a kind of a shot pass from Alexei Protas. Tips it past our old friend Darcy Kemper for the 1-0 lead. Second period, Alex Ovechkin scores again, his 6th goal of the season at that point, puts the Caps up 2-0. Anze Kopitar, in his last ever game at Capital One Arena, he has announced already that he will retire at the end of the season. He scores on the power play for the Kings to pull them within 2-1, but that is as close as the Kings would get. They would not get any closer than 2-1. So great regulation win here by the Caps to close this one out. Charlie Lindgren was phenomenal in this hockey game. He saved 30 of 31 shots. That was a really, really, really strong bounce back performance by him. Really kind of welcoming himself to the season, I would say, right? Other than that first game, the very first game that he played, where he had the shutout, he's really struggled. Other than that, up until this game against the Kings, right? So this was kind of him kind of announcing himself that he's here for the season, right? Stops 30 of 31 Los Angeles Kings shots and was just really, really, really solid during this hockey game. Gives up only the one goal, which was good because the Caps only scored 2 on Darcy Kemper, right? Gives up only the one goal and gets the win 2-1, like I said, in regulation. Moving on to the next game here. This one was really fun for me specifically because one of my very best friends in the entire world is a diehard Edmonton Oilers fan, and I know a few others as well. Just living up here in Canada, like the Vancouver Canucks, where I live, have kind of a bit of a rivalry with the Edmonton Oilers. So you always see a few Oilers fans around. So I know a few of them, but yeah, one of my best friends in the entire world is a diehard Edmonton Oilers fan. So games against the Oilers, always fun for me. I sent him a 2-word text after the game, which simply said, "Touchdown, bitch." Which got a good laugh out of him. But yeah, the Caps in this one, they hit the touchdown and the kick is good as well. 7 goals here for the Washington Capitals. So just to run quickly through them. Alexei Protas, his 6th goal of the season in the first period, puts the Caps up 1-0. Alex Ovechkin, again, his 7th goal of the season, puts the Caps up 2-0. That's in the first period as well. Darnell Nurse gets a goal for the Oilers, 2-1. Ryan Leonard puts the Caps up 3-1, and then Darnell Nurse again somehow cuts it back to 3-2. And this was all in the first period. So the Caps are up 3-2 at the end of 20 minutes. Second period, it is Ryan Leonard again, baby. What a game by him. His first career multi-goal game in the National Hockey League, in his young National Hockey League career. And this is his 5th goal of the season already as well for Leno. Just a great game by him here. Both of his goals, super nice. The first one, he shows great patience, holds onto the puck in the slot, kind of skates himself over a little bit out of the slot, but to get Stuart Skinner moving, right? Change the angle a bit, and then beats Stuart Skinner with the wrist shot. That was his first goal. His second goal was an absolute beauty, man. Connor McMichael had fed him the pass up ice, which Leonard kind of had to let come to him because he was moving actually faster than the pass. So he lets the pass come to him, lets it go through his legs, like he sees that behind him, lets it go through his legs, up to his stick, picks it up, skates in, shrugs off Evan Bouchard like he's nothing, and then goes forehand, backhand, beats Stuart Skinner for the goal. So that puts the Caps up 4-2 in the second period. Ryan Leonard's 2nd goal of this game for the young rookie forward. Third period, Oilers get a goal early to make it 4-3, but then Anthony Beauvillier answers for the Caps 5-3. Leon Draisaitl gets a power play goal, 5-4, and then Tom Wilson gets a goal to put the Caps up 6-4, and then another one into the empty net to put the Caps up 7-4. So multi-goal game for Tom Wilson as well. 7-4. That would be your final score. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, what I had said from the post-game reaction video, I believe. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl were combined -5. Connor McDavid played over 24 minutes. Leon Draisaitl played about 23 and a half minutes, and they were combined -5. So not great, Bob, if you're an Edmonton Oilers fan, but we love it here at Jenaya Talks Caps as Capitals fans. Then after this massive win against the Oilers, the Caps actually had to travel overnight. This was another back-to-back for the Washington Capitals. They have led the league so far in back-to-backs. They have not had an easy schedule here. It's another back-to-back for them here. So they finish this game against the Edmonton Oilers. Then they have to travel overnight up to Montreal, across the border, crossing from the United States into Canada overnight, like I said, and they have to play at the Bell Center that very next night. And oh boy, did they ever play at the Bell Center. 8-4 win for the Washington Capitals. So they score 7 goals the night before against the Edmonton Oilers. They outdo themselves the very next night, upping it even more by another goal to get to 8. So they drop 8 on the Montreal Canadiens. Alex Ovechkin, he moves into the top 10 all-time in points in National Hockey League history in this win. He had, get to the goals here, but he had obviously the hat trick, the 33rd hat trick of his NHL career. And he had a primary assist as well. So 4 points in the game for the captain, Alex Ovechkin. I'll just run through the goals here. First goal was Alex Ovechkin, of course, and a power play goal. My God, finally a power play goal for the Washington Capitals. That one comes just a minute into the game. Alex Ovechkin, he was not messing around on this one. I think he's kind of seen enough here of the power play struggles of his team. Dylan Strome wins the faceoff. Like the first initial faceoff, as soon as the power play starts, Dylan Strome wins the faceoff back to Alex Ovechkin, and Ovechkin just absolutely rips this thing past Samuel Montembeault. At that point was in net for the Canadiens. A minute in, and an Alex Ovechkin with the power play goal puts the Caps up 1-0. Brendan Gallagher would then get a power play goal of his own to tie the game up for the Habs. That comes before the end of the first period there as well. So we're 1-1 at the end of one. Second period, Ethan Frank. Again, this is on the power play, folks. So we have 2 power play goals in one game here. This one as well comes early on in the period, just 2 minutes into the second period. It's Ethan Frank from Alex Ovechkin. So Alex Ovechkin, like I said, adding the primary assist as well. Dylan Strome gets a secondary assist. Ethan Frank, that's his first goal of the season, beats Montembeault, puts the Caps up 2-1. And then a minute and 38 seconds later, man, you get one, you get another one, right? Ethan Frank scores again, this time at even strength. Like I said, a minute and 38 seconds after his power play goal, he is striking here at even strength. That puts the Caps up 3-1. Let's see here. It was Joe Veleno scored for the Habs to make it 3-2. Jacob Chikrin then answers for the Caps, making it 4-2 rather. This was the goal, I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. This was the goal that came after another just absolutely massive Tom Wilson hit in Montreal, right? He had that hit in the playoffs, the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs against the Montreal Canadiens. The hit heard round the world, right? Where he absolutely steamrolled Alexander Carrier of the Montreal Canadiens. Changed the series for the Washington Capitals. Caps never looked back after that one. After that hit, they made the comeback in that game. They won that game, ran away with it actually after that hit. And then they went on to, they didn't lose again in the series, right? They ended up beating the Montreal Canadiens in just 5 games by a 4-1 count. So another hit here by Tom Wilson that is heard around the world. It was all over social media. Again, changes the course of the game for the Caps, right? Montreal had made it a 3-2 game. Tom Wilson makes this hit. Caps pick up the puck, score 4-2. Nick Suzuki would add one for the Habs after that to make it 4-3. But the Caps again then would add on again after that. Sonny Milano this time to make it 5-3. And this was kind of a theme for the Caps. It was actually the same thing in the game against the Edmonton Oilers as well, was that the Caps would get a 2-goal lead, and then the other team might get 1 goal to get back within a goal, but then the Caps would pretty much immediately answer the opposition's goal with another goal of their own to extend their lead, re-extend their lead again, to make it a 2-goal lead again, right? So that happened in the game against the Oilers. The Oilers would get within 1, but the Caps would never let them tie it, and then they would score another goal of their own to, again, re-extend their lead to be a multi-goal lead again. And it was the same thing here against the Montreal Canadiens the very next night. Followed pretty much the same script. Like, the Caps would get a multi-goal lead, go up by a couple goals. Montreal would get 1 to get back within 1. The Caps would score again right away to make it a 2-goal lead again. So they do that here again. Sonny Milano with the goal to make it 5-3. That's how the second period would end. Was 5-3 for the Caps. Third period, Mike Matheson would get a goal 5 minutes and 37 seconds in to make it 5-4. But again, the Caps answer, and it is Alex Ovechkin with his second goal of this game, his 9th goal of the season, makes it 6-4. This was a great odd man rush here by Ovechkin and Dylan Strome. Dylan Strome with the pass gets the primary assist, the only assist on that goal. And yeah, Ovi buries it past Jakub Dobeš, who was in net at that point. The Habs, I forgot to mention, had pulled Samuel Montembeault from this hockey game. So yeah, it was Dobeš in net that Alex Ovechkin was beating here. I'm trying to remember, but I believe that was the first time that Ovi had scored on Dobeš. So that's another goaltender to add to his list of victims, right? He already obviously holds that National Hockey League record for most goaltenders scored on of all time. But yeah, he adds another name to the list here in Jakub Dobeš, makes it 6-4 for the Caps on the odd man break with Dylan Strome. And then he adds the empty net goal as well for the hat trick and for his 10th goal of the season already at 40 years of age. Just absolutely unhinged stuff from Alex Ovechkin. And then, because 7-4 wasn't good enough, like I said, we wanted to up our performance by a goal from the night before. We beat Edmonton 7-4. They wanted to make it 8-4 against the Montreal Canadiens here. So Sonny Milano adds another one just to rub some more salt in the wound for Montreal, right? With only, I believe it was only a minute and 26 left. Sonny Milano gets his second goal of the game for your 8-4 final score. So, man, the Caps, like, their offense in this game was on fire. It was flying. Alex Ovechkin, obviously, with the hat trick, but there was 2 other guys as well with almost hat tricks, right? In Sonny Milano and Ethan Frank as well. Frank, I believe, had 4 points in this game. I'm just going to confirm that. Just give me 1 second here. I believe this must have been the game that he had the 4 points, right? And yes, it was. So yeah, the 2 goals and then the 2 assists for 4 points for Ethan Frank in just 8 minutes and 51 seconds of ice time, by the way. So in under 9 minutes of ice time, like he's basically getting a point every 2 minutes of ice time there in Montreal. So a great game by Ethan Frank, great game by Sonny Milano, and obviously a great game by Alex Ovechkin. And yeah, 8-4 final score in Montreal, like I said. And so not only like you're in Montreal, you're on the road, but second half of a back-to-back with travel, cross-border travel. Just a really, really, really great win, an all-around team win there by the Caps. And then the most recent game against Tampa Bay, obviously we know what happened in that one. Everybody remembers this one just the other night. So 5-3 loss in which, you know, it was special teams that let the Caps down again. They had they had 6 power plays of their own. They do not score a goal, so they're 0 for 6. But aside from that, and not only, by the way, did they give Tampa Bay a power play goal. So Tampa only had three opportunities. They were 1 for 3. So the Caps give up a power play goal again to the opposition. Penalty kill again is only operating in this game at like 66.67%. Not good. But yeah, I mean, the bigger thing was they give up a shorthanded goal as well. So in addition to your power play being 0 for 6, you give up a shorthanded goal. And yeah, the other team has half as many power play opportunities as you, and you give them a power play goal and you can't score one of your own, which, by the way, like, the Caps deserve to have twice as many power play opportunities in this game as the Tampa Bay Lightning did. They completely outplayed the Lightning at 5-on-5. The Caps for the game, they outshoot the Lightning 34-16. They outshot them in all 3 periods. So it was a really great game played by the Caps. And again, they score 3 goals at 5-on-5, which should be enough to win a hockey game. It's just that the special teams letting them down again, right? I don't know. I mean, we've talked about it. We've talked about it at length, the special teams, but like this brings me to the negative middle of our little positive sandwich that we've got going here, which is still, and it has been all season, right? It has been all season, and it's still, folks, the teams play on special teams. Power play and penalty kill. They both suck. They're both dreadful for most of the season here. So I've talked about it at length already. I don't know how much really that I can beat a dead horse here, if you want to use that expression. I don't know. You can only talk about it so much, right? Like, I'm just going to grab the current numbers here. I know approximately where they are, but yeah, so power play now, they are 27th in the league currently on the power play, operating at 14.7%. Atrocious. The penalty kill, not any better. In fact, it's even worse. 29th in the National Hockey League, operating at a 71.8% efficiency rate on the penalty kill. Like I said, 29th in the National Hockey League. So you're 29th on the penalty kill. You were 27th on the power play. No team in the NHL is that bad at both of those things combined. Like, the Caps are the worst team on special teams in the National Hockey League. Last place when you combine the two. So there's not much more to say. I mean, I don't know. We've talked about it so at length here that I'm just kind of like, I don't know how much I can keep beating a dead horse. Like I said, like, if you want to hear me talk, in depth at length, about the special teams, there are previous episodes on here where I and others are doing that. Myself and a couple of guests that I've had on did a great episode with my good friend Gil a couple of episodes ago. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3 episodes ago, where we talked at length about the Capitals power play and their lack of success with it. So you can check that one out when you're finished with this one. Yeah, we've talked about the special teams at length already. So I don't want to, like I said, keep beating a dead horse. It's just, it has to be mentioned right now during every episode because it is the primary reason why they are losing games, right? Don't know how else to say that. It is the primary reason why they're losing games. So they have so far already lost a ton of standings points because they cannot score a power play goal and because they cannot keep a power play goal out of their net when the opposition is on the power play. So pretty much every game that they have lost this season has been a tight, like a close scored game, right? They haven't been blown out a lot at all, just really the one time against the Ottawa Senators. But other than that, like, they've pretty much all been close games, right? They've been losing, like, their losses that they've had have pretty much all been 1-goal games or a 1-goal game, like, with an empty netter added on at the end, right? So if they could just fix these bloody special teams, and that's gonna go a long way here, because they literally are one of the very best teams in the National Hockey League at 5-on-5. So if they can fix the special teams, clean them up, even if they can get to like middle of the pack, like just be average, just be fucking average on special teams, and you will be at or near the top of the standings with how good your 5-on-5 play is. So they've got to clean it up. Like I said, I don't want to keep beating a dead horse, but it is the reason why they're losing a lot of these games, right? So it's got to be fixed. And then, yeah, just to finish off here, our positive sandwich, like I said, for this episode, definitely a big positive for the Caps right now is the fact that our guy, Alexander Ovechkin, is so back, baby. He is so back. 40 years old. Like I said, 10 goals on the season already. The Caps have only played 22 games, so he's on a very good pace there. Goal scoring wise, he is also on a very good pace. Points wise, overall, 20 points already through, like I said, just 22 games played for the Caps. So he's pretty much a point per game at 40 years old. That is absolutely insane to think about. And yeah, 10 goals already. He's on pace for almost 40 goals again, right? Like he's probably going to, and that's even with having obviously a very slow start to the season. He took, a good few weeks to ramp it up after missing pretty much all of the Capitals training camp with a lower body injury. But yeah, he has ramped it up now, baby. And so even with that really slow start to the season, like I said, he's already got 10 goals now. He's already on pretty much a 40 goal pace, and that's with that slow start to the season, right? So he's way outscoring that 40 goal pace the last several weeks here now, right? Like he has really picked it up. He's +6 on the season as well. Again, through just 22 games played. So he's on pace to be like +20 or more. So it's crazy to keep doing this every year. Like we talk about, like, we've never seen this from a 39-year-old. We've never seen this from a 38-year-old. Before that, we've never seen this from a 37-year-old. Before that, we've never seen this from a 36-year-old. Before that, we've never seen this from a 35-year-old. You can go on and on and on. It's insane what this guy is doing. I love the guy so much. Yeah, it's crazy to watch, man. It really is. Every time that people think that this guy is done, every single time he's like, not so fast. I am not going anywhere just yet. And yeah, like over his last 5 games here, he finally had his goal scoring streak snapped in this most recent game against the Tampa Bay Lightning. But he fired one off of the crossbar in the third period when the Caps were trailing by a single goal. So that almost tied the game for the Washington Capitals, which would have been crazy because they were down 4-1 at one point. 4-3 in the third period, and he absolutely rips one off of the crossbar. So close to tying the game for the Caps, and so close to extending his goal-scoring streak, which would have given him, by the way, sole possession of the NHL record for the longest goal-scoring streak by a player age 40 plus. As it is, he already tied it, so he holds that National Hockey League record now in a tie with Jaromir Jagr for the longest goal-scoring streak at 40 years old or older. So yeah, he finally had it snapped against the Tampa Bay Lightning, but before that, hat trick, primary assist against Montreal, 4 points there for that game in Montreal. Before that, scores a goal against the Oilers. Before that, scores a goal against the Los Angeles Kings. Before that, scores a goal and an assist against the New Jersey Devils. So yeah, it's just been like really crazy to watch this unfold, the way that Alex Ovechkin is playing. He is very much back. You can see it, like, not just in these numbers that I'm reading off to you, the way that he's been scoring of late, but you can see it for sure now, the way that he is playing out there on the ice, the way that he's moving, the way that he's skating, the way that he's puck handling, going inside out on guys again, like he's 25, making moves through his legs and whatnot. Like, it's insane to watch, I guess is what I'm getting at. But yeah, he is back, baby. And that could not be better news for the Washington Capitals to have this guy still playing at the level that he is, and certainly now with other guys starting to pick it up as well. I spoke before about how we needed to start seeing more from, some of the guys who had big seasons last season, Alexei Protas, Connor McMichael, some of these guys. They seem to be picking it up a little bit now. Like Protas, he had points in 3 straight games going into that game against Tampa Bay, I believe. So he's picking it up a little bit. Connor McMichael has been fucking flying recently. He's racking up a lot more points recently. So yeah, good to see some of these guys getting going. Ryan Leonard, obviously, first multi-goal game of his career. He's looked great. So yeah, when you have those guys starting to, come around here, and then you add to that Alex Ovechkin starting to play more like 30-year-old Alex Ovechkin, 35-year-old Alex Ovechkin at least, who 35-year-old Alex Ovechkin, if you remember, was still really fucking good. So, yeah, it's great to see him being back here. Like I said, for sure he is back. Like you can see it, like I said, not just in the numbers, but when you watch him on the ice. So could not be better news for the Washington Capitals. And yeah, we'll wrap this one up here, babes, because I can see we're at about just over 40 minutes here. So that'll be enough for today. But yeah, just wanted to, like I said, come on and kind of do a bit of a positive sandwich take here today. Because yeah, I think that kind of encompasses the vibes around the team right now, right? There's been a lot more positive than there has been negative for the last week or so here now since we did our last episode. Definitely a lot more positive than negative, but there are still things, like I said, there's that little negative in the middle that still needs to be worked on, that being the special teams for sure. So babes, we will call it a day for today. Thank you all so much for listening, for watching if you're watching on YouTube, or for listening if you're listening in audio only. Thank you guys so much, as always, for being here, for being involved, like I said, for leaving your comments and your thoughts on the team and on its players. I always love reading your guys' comments, so keep those coming, whether it's on the YouTube channel, or you can leave them on our Facebook page as well. That's under the same name, Jenaya Talks Caps. So yeah, keep those comments coming. I always love reading those. Click on that subscribe button. Like I said, if you haven't already done so, we would love to have you along here with us for this ride. Obviously, the Caps at this point, they've played 22 games, which means there are 60 more in the regular season here for the Washington Capitals. So if you want to join us for the rest of the season here, and even going forward beyond that, do click on that subscribe button. Follow us on Facebook as well if you feel so inclined. The Facebook page has gotten pretty popular. It's like, believe almost 1.4K followers over there. So great community of Caps fans over there. If you want to follow along with 1,000 plus other Capitals fans, there's some great conversations going on over there. Just people, like I said, leaving their thoughts on what they see with the team, with its players, and you can be involved over there too. So yeah, follow us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube or on your favorite audio platform. We are available across pretty much all of your favorite podcast platforms. Like I said, Apple, Spotify, all of the big ones, everywhere that you would imagine, we are on there. So yeah, subscribe, follow us, wherever you like to get your content from. We are on pretty much all of those platforms. And like I said, we would love to have you along here with us. Caps' next game is coming up on Monday, which is probably when I will release this podcast episode. So if you're listening to this on Monday, game is tonight, okay, against the Columbus Blue Jackets at Capital One Arena. So be sure to tune in for that one. And yeah, just thank you all again so much for being here. It's been lovely chatting with you all. We will see you next week. Until next time, babes. And as always, let's go, Caps.